At the end of section 4.1, we used the 30-60-90 triangle and the 45-45-90 triangle, along with just the points on the x and y axis, the coordinate plane, to label each of the places where these angles in standard position intersected the unit circle. So we came up with, for example, that this point here, where 30 degrees or pi over 6 radians intersects the unit circle, is located at square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. And we did that for each of the angles along the unit circle of particular interest to us. Remember, there's infinitely many angles, but there's certain ones that we are more interested in and use more often. Let's say that each one of these points, x, y, is where the angle intersects the unit circle. There are some very special pieces of information associated with that, and they are the definitions of the trigonometric functions. And you see these here, and we're going to walk through each of these. So there are 6 trigonometric functions: the sine, the cosine, the tangent, the cosecant, the secant, and then if we scroll down a little bit here, we'll see the cotangent. And each of these can be found by using these ordered pairs on the circle. And when we say the sine, we're talking about the sine of an angle. So let's say, we're talking about this angle again, 30 degrees or pi over 6. The sine of that angle is equal to the y part of the ordered pair. So as we're looking at the ordered pair associated with the square root of 3 with pi over 6 or 30 degrees, and we see that it's the ordered pair square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, then the y value corresponds to the sine of t. Each one of these trigonometric functions has an abbreviation. So sine is S-I-N-E, but the abbreviation is S-I-N. So not sin, but sine. Cosine it has an abbreviation C-O-S, and it's the x part of the ordered pair. So let's say we were asked, what is the sine of pi over 6? So you take the sine of an angle. So we have, here's pi over 6. The sine of that angle is the y part of the ordered pair where that angle intersects the unit circle. So the y part of that ordered pair is 1/2. Let's say we were asked, what is the cosine of pi over 6? So we go to that same location, pi over 6. The cosine is the x part of the ordered pair, so that would be square root of 3 over 2. And every angle has a sine or a cosine, so we're not limited just certainly to pi over 6. We could say, okay, what is the sine of pi? Well, we find pi where pi intersects the unit circle. It's over here, and there's the point. So we look at that ordered pair. The sine is the y part of the ordered pair. So that's going to be 0. The sine of pi is 0. Let's say we had to find the cosine of 11 pi over 6. So we go to 11 pi over 6. We're going around our circle. And the cosine of 11 pi over 6 is the x part of the ordered pair, which would be square root of 3 over 2. This is not limited to positive angles. We could look at negative angles. Let's say we wanted to look at the sine of negative 45 degrees. Oftentimes you'd see that in parentheses, so I'll include parentheses just to let you know that is typically how you would see it, although if you didn't have them, you would still know that it meant negative 45 degrees. Sorry that my degree sign went away there. But remember, with negative angles, we start here at 0 because we're talking about standard position, and then we'll come in the reverse direction. So we go clockwise. Typically, we would be going counterclockwise. Since this is negative, we'll go clockwise. So here's positive 45 degrees. So we're going to go that same amount in the opposite direction. It's coterminal. Remember that word, coterminal. With 315 degrees or 7 pi over 4 radians, we're looking at this ordered pair because this is the point where that angle intersects the unit circle. The sine is the y part of the ordered pair, which is negative square root of 2 over 2. All right. So x and y, each one of these ordered pairs then on the unit circle gives us information about the angle. It gives us the cosine of the angle in the x value and the sine of the angle in the y value. Well, there are 4 more trigonometric functions. There's the tangent, which is abbreviated TAN, and the tangent of an angle is the y value of the ordered pair divided by the x value of the ordered pair. So if we wanted to find the tangent of, let's say, 5 pi over 6, we find 5 pi over 6, there it is. That's where that angle intersects the unit circle, 5 pi over 6 radians. So I take the y value of that ordered pair, which is 1/2, divided by the x value of that ordered pair, which is negative square root of 3 over 2. Now, here we go with having to rationalize functions and, or rationalize fractions, I should say, and radicals. Very annoying, but must be done. If you have the TI-30XS Multiview Calculator or the TI-36 Pro, it will do this for you very handily. If not, we'll just do it the long way. 1/2 I have the calculator, but I'm doing it the wrong way. Oh, not the wrong way, the long way for your benefit. So 1/2 divided by negative square root of 3 over 2 is the same as 1/2 times the reciprocal of that value in the denominator. So that's 2 over negative square root of 3. My 2's divide out, and I'm left with 1 over square root of 3, and we had a positive times a negative, which means that negative. And then I have to multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3, and finally end up with negative square root of 3 over 3. So the tangent of 5 pi over 6 is negative square root of 3 over 3. All right. On to the cosecant, which is abbreviated CSC. Cosecant is CSC. The cosecant of an angle is 1 over y. So I want you to just think about that's the reciprocal of the y value. That's going to be so much easier to think about instead of 1 over y since we're dealing with so many fractions. Let's say we had to find the cosecant of, let's do 5 pi over 6 again. All right, so we've already determined, here's where 5 pi over 6 is. The cosecant is 1 over the y value, which means 1 over 1/2. But 1 over something just means the reciprocal. So we say, well, what's the reciprocal of 1/2? That is 2. All right. We have the secant of an angle, which is abbreviated SEC. So when you see the secant of an angle, that's 1 over the x. In other words, the reciprocal of the x value. Okay. So suppose we wanted to find the secant of 2 pi. Okay. So the secant of 2 pi, we find 2 pi, which I do not have labeled on here for some reason, but there it is, all the way around. It's coterminal with 0. So here we're talking about this ordered pair. The secant of 2 pi is the reciprocal of the x value. Well, the x value is 1, so 1 over 1 is equal to 1. All right. And then the last one in our list is the cotangent. It's abbreviated COT, and it's the ratio of the x value to the y value. So let's say we were asked to find the cotangent of negative 135 degrees. Okay, so that's negative. We're going backwards. Let's take a look at what positive 135 looks like. That's to here. So negative 135 will come backwards that amount. Remember, we could also say 365, minus 135 degrees to find that coterminal angle, which is 225 degrees. So there's the location of our ordered pair. The cotangent is the x value of the ordered pair divided by the y value of the ordered pair. So the x value is negative square root of 2 over 2. The y value of the ordered pair is also negative square root of 2 over 2. And anything divided by itself is 1. I'd like you to pause the video and evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions of each of these angles.